Welcome to Encounter. This year has flown by so quick that we are going to take a look back and discover some of the places that we've been to, such as Alligator Alley at Circle B Bar Reserve, or even the educational airplane destination called Sun and Fun. Let's fly right in.
Sun and Fun now is no longer just a campus of events. It is truly the world's most unique aviation-centric aerospace learning campus. We have dubbed it the Aerospace Center for Excellence.
So lots of folks in Polk County and throughout the world are familiar with our International Flying and Expo held every April. A lot of folks don't know is that is actually a fundraising event for year-round aerospace educational programs on the Aerospace Center for Excellence.
We're standing here in the Lakeland Aero Club headquarters. This is a 12,500 square foot facility, is the largest high school flying club in the world.
Culminating usually in the late afternoon hours by one of the world's greatest aerobatic demonstration teams the military has to provide, whether it be the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels or the Golden Knights or the Leapfrogs. They all perform as well, along with the myriad of our Warbirds, which have all of these really cool aircraft from the 30s and 40s that made America great when we transitioned from an isolationist country into a world power. That was our transition point in 1941, as we all know, and we became the world's leader in military defense and offense, if necessary. Just a complete array of vintage aircraft that date into the teens. Literally, we have aircraft that were flying within months after Orville and Wilbur took to the skies. And they will be here on display. And add to that, the neatest component would be the home build. Experimental. What made America great was the fact that in America, you could actually design and build and fly your own aircraft.
We have a school across the way, Central Florida Aerospace Academy, which is a Polk County Academy school with 100% graduation rate. They offer various certificates in private pilot, ground school, airframe and power plant certification, as well as avionics. And there also there's home to the Travis Career Center. So Travis, they carry on with their education there, so they earn their power plant part of their airframe and power plant.
Becoming a part of the Lakeland Aero Club, first of all, has taught me how to learn to fly airplanes. So I became a private pilot through the Aero Club, and it's also taught me how to start working on my A&P, becoming an aircraft mechanic.
It's a culmination of a lot of efforts on the part of our young people who've gotten their pilot's licenses. The purpose of the club was to provide an affordable means for them to continue to build time.
Next up is a place that I love to find some peace and quiet amidst the natural Florida habitat. Heron Hideout. Includes no shade, but it's one of the shortest trails at Circle B. One can experience great sunsets as it reflects from the waters with various colors that cover the open sky. Silhouetted birds perching, roaming and flying are a wonder to see. Catch a full moon in the midst of the surroundings. One must keep in mind the reserve closes at sunset. Sometimes you may catch a masked bandit, a cute one, stealing and eating turtle eggs. Alligator Alley. Alligator Alley runs along Lake Hancock and swampland in the interior side. The trail includes large moss-covered cypress trees. The mostly shaded pathway trail opens up about halfway to a wide view of Lake Hancock. And on both the swamp area and lake, you will see some of its 4,000 gators that roam the lake. The 4,000 alligator count is verified by Fish and Wildlife to establish permits allowed for the alligator hunt each year. Besides local reproduction, alligators that are reported on resident property are brought here if they are under 4 feet. This alligator is about 3 to 4 years old. They grow about a foot a year till they reach sexual maturity at about 10 years old. Baby gators will stay with their mother till about 2 years old. There is 1.5 million gators in Florida. Circle B is in the top 50 places to see wildlife according to USA Today. One may encounter other species such as owls perched on cypress trees. These two barred owls are enjoying the evening breeze on Alligator Alley. Now we're going to go to Exploration's 5 Children's Museum, where children can have hands-on, fun, learning, educational activities. The museum is in the Kress Building, which was built by Sam Kress. It was a 5 and dime store in the 1920s that sold affordable items. It became a county courthouse and then the Children's Museum.
We started back in 1991 in a small 4,500 square foot facility just down the street. And in 2000, we purchased this beautiful 4-story building and turned it into a children's museum.
There is a huge dragon hovering over the entranceway of the museum, referred to as DOT, and rightly named by the children, Dragon of Toys.
We have 4 floors. Our top floor is for tutoring and we have some rentals and things like that. But we have 3 floors of museum for our visitors.
Children's museums are the fastest growing cultural institutions in the United States today. They started back in 1899. The first one opened in Brooklyn, New York. And many of them came to be around the 70s through the 90s, just as we did. We opened in 91, and now we're facing 25 years of serving children and families.
We have our first floor is themed for our town, has our theater and our news station and transportation exhibits such as our fire engine, which was recently rehabilitated by the Lakeland Fire Department. In addition, we have our very favorite Explore store, our miniature grocery store for children that is supported by Publix.
Next up is Bok Tower. Did you know they just added a children's garden for the whole family to enjoy?
It's just a continuum of what we've done. These concepts are not new to this garden. We've been here 87 years, and we feel like we're just enriching our mission with these.
Perhaps you can create a steward for life. And if this garden can do one great thing, one great positive radiating influence, it could be to encourage the future generations to take care of the world we live in.
Very glad to be here. This is a unique, very unique opportunity. There's none other like this in the nation that has really partnered a land-grant university with a private entity like Bok Tower.
Wholesome ideas come from a close intimacy with nature. And those were his beliefs. That's the spirit with which the children's garden was designed, and really all of this was designed. He enjoyed using his role as editor of one of the nation's leading magazines at the time to, he used it as kind of a pulpit from which he could try to express values and ask people to question things about their lives and think about what was really important. And one of the themes that he came back to again and again was the simple life, the sense that every day there's this relentless incursion of materialism and clutter and unnecessary stress in our lives that comes out of our natural tendency to want to emulate our neighbors and clutter our lives with things that don't really matter, not really important.
But, different things we can do, and we were looking at building a children's garden, but also expanding on our mission with conservation, native plants, and wildlife.
We began working at Bok Tower Gardens about 4.5 years ago at the end of the completion of a master plan that had been done by the firm Studio Outside. My firm, Nelson Bird Woltz, was hired to implement the concepts generated by that master plan.
When the board, under the leadership of Bill Burns, began this journey, we were mindful that what Edward Bok created was now under our care and in our hands. We knew that we weren't in charge of changing the intent of his gift, but we were in charge of enriching his gift to the nation as we passed it on to future generations.
Next up is the Frank Lloyd Wright architecture. Did you know that Polk County has one of the largest collections?
We are so proud of what we have here at the college. Not only is it a college of high academic standards, but it's a college of beauty. We have the very fortunate luck of having 13 Frank Lloyd Wright designed structures on our campus, 12 original structures, and a new structure that was built about 2 years ago that was supposed to be built in 1939, and we completed it in 2013. They came to Lakeland in 1922. That was already the 4th campus of the college. They built traditional brick buildings like most college campuses have. And not too long thereafter, of course, the Great Depression comes along. Things get very dicey financially. But at that point, after a few years, we had a very dynamic president. His name was Dr. Lloyd Spivey. And Dr. Spivey wanted to expand the campus in the middle of the Depression. And he wants to make a statement. He wants dramatic architecture that he figures would attract students to come to the school. And he was proven correct. He wanted the greatest architect there is. He sent a telegram to Frank Lloyd Wright in 1938. We want to build a temple to education. We want you to be our architect. What he's essentially doing is hiring Frank Lloyd Wright on the spot. The two men had never spoken, never talked to each other whatsoever, but he hires Frank Lloyd Wright. Mr. Wright comes here to the campus. He was already 70 years old, by the way, and the two men discussed what Dr. Spivey wanted the college to be.
All these places we've recounted are assets to our community. Polk County is all the better for it. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Encounter.